So in this video, I'm going to illustrate to you how you could set up three different techniques uh, to automate network configuration. And for network configuration, I'm essentially using the VYOS router. My setup is using VYOS 1.4 because it's capable of REST APIs. So I've got VYOS 1 with 1.4 version and VYOS 2 with 1.4 version, both supporting REST APIs, and they're connected to a Linux server. And this Linux server is CentOS 7, very easy to set up and install. And I've got on this Linux CentOS 7, I've got Python installed, and I've got expect installed, and with Python is installed with netmiku, and netmiku is what you need to do all this connection handling in your scripting for Python. So once you do that, the Linux already comes with Bash shell and and typically it does come with expect, but if it doesn't, if you don't have it, you can install it. There's so many documents that basically illustrates how to install expect. For the REST APIs, curl is used, and curl is automatically installed, or it comes by default in Linux anyway. So here's the three scripts that are essentially doing exactly the same thing, which is to set the host name. So I'm basically using VYOS set system hostname command and setting a host name in a loop so that the same script would set it for two or more routers. In my demo, it's just two routers. All three scripts are sitting in my Linux server, and I'm going to run these scripts one by one to show you how they perform or how they do the job. And my personal experience is, obviously this one is the easiest to set up. uh, curl is just piece of cake. It comes with Linux and I think Windows, but I don't mess with Windows. It is extremely difficult to make things work uh, from a network automation standpoint. But the problem with REST APIs is you got to have the double quotes and the single quotes figured out before you can write all this stuff. And this is it was painful, but once you figure it out, it becomes pretty powerful. How what you can do, especially in a loop fashion. So that's and then the third one is the Python. Obviously, Python is the most popular scripting language for network automation. It's very flexible, got a lot of tools. Setting up on Linux was a little difficult because of the updates, but once you get it out of the way, then Python 3 is what I'm using to use netmiku, because I think netmiku only is supported in Python 3. So you need netmiku toolset to do this. So this is my setup here from Linux. I'm going to run these scripts one by one on my routers. And essentially I'm going to do one thing, which is set system host name. And the expect script is going to set the host name with expect. The REST API is going to set the host name with RST. And the Python is going to set the host name with the host name of Python, which is right here, the set host name string hn, which is right here. So the reason why it's sitting up here is because I am using a variable in the loop here that is going to replace this part with the IP address. So this is the part of the host name, and then this is the variable here. So you have to do the format n, and n is the changing thing, and then that's how you send the config set. I try to use the config command, send config command, and it was giving me trouble. The config set is pretty straightforward. And you can probably put the commit as part of the config set, but I'm doing it separately here. Very simple script. This is the only tricky part. If you can get a hang of that, you can do this in a loop. This one is using a loop. Rest is basically using a bash loop. I'm using a bash Linux loop to run this curl command. You need to use the K to not validate the certificate because I'm not using validated certificates. I'm not installing any certificates. You just need to use an API key, which is here. You need to set this API key in your VYOS routers, and I'll show you how to do that when I get into the CLI. Here, I'm just using SSH. And as long as your SSH key is known by the host, which is in this case this guy, will go in, provide the username, provide the password, in a sequence, go into configure, enter, send the command, enter, and commit, and that's it. It comes out. Very straightforward stuff here. Again, it's using an expect loop here, and with a spawn SSH command. And let's go into the action mode here. This is my router 1, this is my router 2, and my file server. So my file server right now, if I see show system host name, it's Python. I was just testing it, so right now it's set to Python. We'll start with the expect script. And let's trigger the expect script, and I'll give you the output by default so you can see what's happening. It's in router 1 right now. It's sending the command, did it, and now it's in router 2. So this one should be set. There you go, it's set. And now it's in router 2, second router. And I think it's done there too. So this one, it's still doing it. There you go. So with this expect script, it set the host name. Let's run the REST API. And it's very quick. That's the biggest difference that I found between expect and REST and Python, that the REST is very, very quick. So there you go, from expect to REST in a few seconds. And now let's trigger the Python. For Python, again, you're gonna have to do Python 3 and then the name of the file, the script file. And it takes pretty much the same amount of time as expect. So REST API is definitely the quickest, the fastest among all the other two compared to other two scripting tool. But and obviously, if you want to run and look at the output, you have to put in more lines here. I just wanted to keep it simple as possible. As soon as it comes out, we'll check on this, but it takes a little longer. Python is gonna, here you go, Python router. So between expect, REST, and Python, REST was definitely the quickest. What do I need to do to get this tested and on VYOS? You need to do show service, and you need to do show service set HTTPS API key ID API key, and then this is the command set that you need to put in, and allow SSH for this. So You want to see the show service, just the command set. These are the commands that you need to put in. 2 commands on both sides. To play with this, and with an API key that matches up with the API key in this guy here, needs to match up. So once you do that, you would be able to play with these 3 different automation or scripting tool. Hope this helps.